I just watched the roast of Tom Brady, which I should have gone to. All week I was planning on going, had some stuff popping up, and I was just like, you know what? I'm driving to Inglewood. I'll just stay here. I'll watch it. I really regret not going because the best way I can describe it for me and probably every other Patriots fan who's watching it, it was like being at a wedding where people start going up and giving toasts, your family members, and it's getting progressively crazier and crazier. And you're like, oh my God, I can't believe Uncle Bob said that about Aunt Janet. Oh, Jesus, Uncle Don's going up. And you just like don't know what's going to happen next. And it's all these people that have been in your life, but it feels like all of a sudden there are no rules and there's a microphone. And that's what it was like. It went so much better than I ever expected. I want to rip through it. I did a little winners and losers. Um, and the biggest winner was Netflix because Netflix over and over again figures out how to win. This is not a message paid for by Netflix. Just Fantasy texted this to my little group today, and I couldn't agree more. They just play in the perfect night. Somehow there's no sports. It was the kind of like live cultural event that barely exists anymore unless you have sports or award shows. And it was just unpredictable. I thought I would be like popping in and out, not really watching, maybe even like leaving, coming back later. You didn't know what was going to happen next, which was the whole point of a live thing. But, you know, the bigger thing is comedy and roast, and there hadn't been a roast in a while. Roast felt like they had kind of died by the mid 2010s. They were just getting like super, super, super vicious, and not as fun and playful and weird and unpredictable as they used to be 20 years ago, partly because on the Comedy Central ones, they were taped. So the live element I thought really, really helped. But, you know, they had big stars. It was funny, and there was really, really, really no limits. And you could feel that immediately when people started, when Kevin Hart was making jokes about Brady's ex-wife and the jiu-jitsu instructor. I can't say jiu-jitsu instructor. There we go. And that was, I don't know, maybe 5-6 minutes in. And I was watching, I'm like, oh my God, he brought up the jiu-jitsu instructor. I can't believe it. What, Brady must be dying. And by the hour mark, that was like not even one of the 5 worst things that anybody said. It just kept getting crazier and crazier. There were Aaron Hernandez jokes. There were totally inappropriate jokes. It was so inappropriate that everything became appropriate after a while. I don't know what the line would have been. And that's what a roast should be. The whole point of a roast is cross the lines. Everybody's here. Everyone's on the same team. We're just going to say the meanest, funniest things possible, and it's okay. And they brought that back. So kudos to Netflix. Kudos to Kevin Hart and Jeff Ross and everybody who put this together. A little bit of winners and losers. So winner, Bill Belichick, who, again, I've talked about this before on a podcast, but is somebody that people don't realize is kind of funny. And the whole time was like, doing that press conference shtick, but there was actually a little more there. He came out, his speech was, or not his speech, his roast was, I thought, good. I mean, considering what you would have expected, he had he came out and he said the roast of Tom Brady, not to be confused with the 10-part roast of Bill Belichick on the Apple TV series. Unbelievable. Great job by him. My favorite part of it, there are two favorite parts. So one is the only ex-player, ex-Patriot that he picked on was Danny Amendola, and he went after him hard. And it would seem pointed, and it kind of seemed out of nowhere. But if you follow the Patriots, like Amendola was very critical of Belichick and the Apple series, and just in general has been kind of a dick about Belichick. So Belichick's like, this is great. I'm going to take shots at him and some of his lack of production. I love that. The other thing was, it got a tiny bit emotional at the end when he was having the moment with Brady. And, you know, there's just so much respect. And especially when you're watching stuff from afar and the guys are, you know, taking maybe tiny shots at each other. Or people are writing these long written reports about how they don't get along. And it was like, and you could tell, like, whatever, they lasted all that time together and there's still some mutual respect. And I thought it was cool. I'm not saying I was sitting there on the couch sobbing, but it was cool to see. Another winner, and also might have been a loser at the same time, Jeffrey Ross, my friend, who made a craft massage joke They show they show Kraft, and it's like, oh no, he's going to do it, and then he does it. And Brady goes up and says like, basically like yells at him, like, don't do that shit again or whatever. Went viral, obviously. I'm like 70% sure Brady was mad about the Kraft joke, and 30% I feel like Jeff was like, if Kraft's here, somebody's got to make a massage joke. So why don't I'll do it? Then you come up to the podium and pretend you're mad at me. But it was great for Jeff. I mean, the two best pop culture things for Jeff are this and when Sal pranked him and he actually got voted off of Dancing with the Stars. He's getting a ton of mileage out of this. Jeff will give 230 interviews about how Tom Brady's not really mad at him and they really get along. I'm a little suspicious. Drew Bledsoe was a winner. Great sense of humor to go up there. I liked his roast. I thought he had some good ones. But you go to this thing, and one of the reasons that some people don't want to do them is if you're on the dais, even if you're just sitting there, you become a target. And he just didn't give a shit, which I loved. One of the things I love about Bledsoe is he's totally at peace with how this whole thing played out, it seems. And he makes the self-deprecating jokes about it and how, now he didn't turn into an alcoholic, but he does own a winery. I just thought he was a big winner. The big loser, and I'll go back to some of the winners, but Kim Kardashian, unbelievable. Like my wife is flying from Boston right now, and it was the only time I texted her. I was like, Kim Kardashian just got legit booed at the Tom Brady roast. Is this a thing that happened? Yeah, it was the thing that happened. And to the point that people on the dais felt uncomfortable and started applauding to try to shift the crowd away from it. But man, going against Taylor Swift, just a lot of repercussions. But people did not want to see her. I've never seen that at a roast before. Another loser was Foxborough High, which just repeated jokes because that was the legendary Belichick thing about how, even the fucking guy at Foxborough High would know how to do that. So a loser, but also a winner, because when was the last time somebody was talking about Foxborough High? Gronk and Edelman were both winners. I thought their roasts were funny. I mean, one of the reasons I thought this roast was going to be bad was that Gronk and Edelman would be two of the people doing roasts, but they did a great job. Edelman had some killer one-liners. These are my favorites. I wrote down 3. In case you didn't know, Alex Guerrero is the snake oil salesman who turned Tom Brady into a fucking weirdo. Unbelievable. And every time they cut to Alex Guerrero, loser, by the way, every time they cut to him, he's like, oh, this is so funny. You knew he was dying inside. Edelman said, so many legendary Patriots tonight, I figured the next time I see you all would be at Kraft's funeral. Wow. And then he said to Brady, starts busting Brady's balls. He's like, who's laughing? Not you, because your face can't move. You have no sense of humor. I thought that was great. And the other great thing about Gronk, and Gronk was, obviously insane, but anyone who knows the Patriots knows that he was going to be insane. And it felt like he was going off the rails when he did his, to the point that Kevin Hart even mentioned after. It was like, wow, I didn't know where that was going. Gronk and Edelman, every time they cut to them, I love their reactions, because Edelman had that kind of open mouth laugh, like, and then Gronk just, his different reactions, because he was probably the biggest butt of the jokes tonight. He just was really good. But part of the keys to the roast are the people on the dais, how they're selling the jokes when they're about them. And if you watch like Jeff Ross, Nikki Glazer, people like that, they know how to like really overlap and sell it. Gronk, Edelman, those guys weren't doing that, but they were doing a fun version of it that I liked. Kevin Hart, I thought, was a really good host. I think Jamie Foxx during the Emmitt Smith roast is the best hosting performance I've ever seen. But Kevin Hart was good too, because you have to have your material at the top, but then you also have to play with what's happening over the course of the night, and maybe react a little to some of the roast things. I thought he did a good job. Nikki Glazer was fantastic and probably did the best start to finish thing. I thought her favorite one, the best one, was, how did you lose 30 million in crypto? Even Gronk was like, you know that not real money. That fucking slayed. People love that one. I was thinking for a couple losers. I mentioned Alex Guerrero, the Apple doc. I mean, poor Apple spends all that money in the Patriots thing, which I guess people watch. Then Netflix comes with this Tom Brady roast, flies a bunch of celebrities in, and gets way more interesting Patriots stuff in 3 hours on a live show than that documentary did. Aaron Hernandez, a loser yet again. The butt of a lot of jokes, the butt of a lot of inappropriate jokes. Once one person went after Hernandez. It just kept going. Dana White, I felt like was a borderline loser. I don't know why they had him roast for a minute, but I probably wouldn't have done that. And then a lot of the jokes about him were pretty pointed about him exploiting MMA fighters. But I can't imagine, like, I wonder if he would do that over again. Randy Moss's outfit, definitely a loser. I was glad people made movie Usher jokes about it. For some winners, Eli Manning, I thought was a huge win for him. He was kind of the go-to. He's the one guy who beat you, and then Brady finally acknowledged it. The jiu-jitsu instructor, big win for him tonight. I don't know if he was watching, but I'm sure he loved it. Roasts in general, big winner, because I feel like roasts now have to come back. There's no way this wasn't a massive success for Netflix. Twitter means way less than it used to mean, but this was number one trending. So many people were texting me, "Are you there? Oh my God, this is unbelievable." So big win for them. Losers, Brady's marriage, tough one. I was wondering, like, did the kids watch this? Did his ex-wife watch this? The one thing I thought, the two things that made him super uncomfortable were when Jeff made the Bob Kraft massage joke. And then a couple times people played the Bridget Moynihan card. And that was the one that he was just dying. Just absolutely dying. And you could Google some of the reasons for that. But I was surprised that people went there. The only thing that nobody made a joke about was his hair. And it made me wonder, like, did they tell people the hair's off limits? It seemed like it was the one thing that was off limits. I thought for sure at least one person would be like, how the fuck do you have more hair now than you had 20 years ago? But nobody did. So that was interesting. Although Edelman did make plastic surgery stuff. Kevin Hart got Kraft and Belichick to do a shot together. And I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't watch it with my own eyes. And he was trying to get it going. And I'm like, there's no way this will fucking happen. Because Belichick hates Kraft. I mean, you know all the reasons why. And Kraft, he mentions it. All of a sudden, Kraft's wandering up to the stage. And he's grabbing a glass. Now Belichick has to go. And Belichick goes up. And it just could not have been icier. Belichick's body language, you know those body language experts that, I mean, I'm a body language expert for basketball, but those body language experts that they have like the TikTok accounts that, like, somebody analyzing Belichick's body language as he like acknowledged Kraft, did the shot, but like kind of turned away from him at the same time. And then Kraft had to do his bullshit. I always said you're the greatest football coach of all time. And Belichick's like, yeah, whatever. Fuck you, dude. I just love the Belichick energy of this whole thing. I thought this was such an absolute win for Belichick. And a lot of these people like Edelman, Gronk. I'm glad people finally got to see how absolutely insane Gronk is. A couple other jokes I really liked. Kevin Hart saying Tom Brady's been fucking so much that his dick has CTE. That killed me. Sam J, who was good, had that you took out illegal PPE loans, didn't raise your kids. You left the Patriots because you were too black for Boston. That killed. That was, I thought, one of the biggest laughs of the night. Andrew Schultz said Bill Belichick has secretly filmed more guys in the other team than Diddy. Got the biggest whoa noise from the crowd. And then, the last winner was Brady, who I still don't really fully understand why he did it, but he came out at the end. It seemed like maybe he was a tiny bit imbibed. I'm not sure, but he said about Kim Kardashian, she's terrified to be here, not because of this, but because her kids are home alone with dad. He said, I want to buy a piece of the Raiders. I'm tired of owning the Colts and the Bills. Oof, that one cut deep. The Colts are Broncos that don't fuck. And then he said, my favorite ring, it's not the next one. It's the one that caught Bill Belichick slinking out of that poor girl's house at 6 a.m. Holy shit. He was bringing it. I mean, my son only saw the Brady part and he was like, does Brady realize they're televising this? Like, nobody's ever seen this side of Brady. Everybody had heard it exists. And he finally decided to show it. I thought it was interesting that he left this going, I missed the love of my life. Pause. Football, which was the perfect way to go out. But I thought it was a really cool night. Hopefully roasts are back. Hopefully Netflix will keep doing these. And as a Patriots fan, I think this was the thing in a lot of ways that gave this whole era closure. Having those three on stage, having the Belichick Kraft awkwardness, having the Belichick and Brady. Obviously, there's some deep affection there. Having a lot of the legends up there, and was a really cool night. I had a good time, everybody. 3 hours with the roast of Tom Brady.